Thank you. I appreciate your patience with us. But I'll bring the meeting to order. Start with a roll call. Everybody officially here?
Erie County, Navarre County,
Here.
Buffalo,
Here.
Niagara Falls,
Presence.
NFTA,
Present.
DLT,
Present.
and through it.
Present.
All accounted for.
Take a minute before I get into the meat of the proceedings. I'd like to take a second to thank Rich for taking on the task of interim director while we continue the search for a permanent director. And I'd like to thank Mike Finn for everything that he did before he left. Both of you have done great things for GBNRTC, and I'm proud to continue to work with you, Rich, going forward. So
Thank you.
thank you. So with that, we will get into the agenda itself. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any in disagreement or abstain? Agenda's approved. Also asked for approval of previous meeting minutes. Do I have a motion? Motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, previous meeting minutes are. Can you give an update on communications?
Yes, morning everyone. So this is the communications report for the month of April 2026. Essentially what we have is stakeholder engagement that we had for our social media. We keep going up a little bit, but the biggest one was again LinkedIn, where we went up 32 followers in just 1 month, which is great for us. We started last year or 2 years ago at about 30 followers in LinkedIn, and now we're up to 424, which is great for us. As far as the website visitor pages, our main page, Maps and Data, Career, many of you know, we have the executive director position open, so we've had a lot of traffic that way coming in. The tip and about us. And our total website visits decreased from last month for about 100 visits. So we're down to 1,726. However, that is normal for us based on the work going on at the moment. On the next page, we have our stakeholder engagement for the month of April. We had the Western New York Greenways Planning Summit in Ellicottville. That was attended by Amy and Brendan. We had the UV Freight Operations Workshop on alternative fuel vehicle adoption, which was attended by Rich, Casey, and Kelly presented. As you can see the picture up there. The NFTA Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting. Kelly is our representative for GBNRTC. The Ministry of Transportation in Ontario, our senior staff attended, and the Eastern Border Transportation Coalition Transporter Working Group workshop that Rich attended yesterday. And that is essentially the recap for our communications for April. As always, I do attach in our communications report the actual website traffic if anybody wanted to see it. The graphs are on the last 2 pages.
Yes, thank you. I'll open it up to public participation for any of the agenda items. I can speak from the agenda items. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read. I didn't get a chance to review the agenda, but we do want to thank the GBNRTC for offering the participation in passenger rail working group. We're very gratified to see that it attracted attendance from Erie, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and it speaks to the importance of Buffalo as a rail hub, and it speaks to the importance of this organization in furthering transit in the area.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Close the public participation.
We got one online.
Oh, sorry.
Let's see if it will work on my end. Together, Doug, you can talk now.
How about now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, I just have a quick comment. I just want to express our gratitude and pleasure that the Regional Rail Committee is now up and running. We look forward to working under Tom's leadership and to start writing a report about where we can go from here. So that's my comment. Thank you.
And you? Any other comments?
No.
Good. All right, now we'll close the public comment period and open it up to action items.
Thank you, Mr. Mecca. We have a lot of action items today, and for those of you who come to policy often, we usually don't have a lot of action items because these are usually high-level approvals. However, due to our new meeting schedule where if we have policy, we don't have PCC, to keep projects moving, we decided to put a bunch of projects for PCC approval on today's agenda to make sure it's moving along and we don't have to wait until next month's meeting. So the first item is item A, New York Power Authority Bridge Replacement. This is an illustrative project, so it's not an actual TIP project. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with illustrative projects, the TIP and the long range plan contain listings of illustrative projects that are projects which are not funded but can be funded if reasonable resources were to become available. So that can either be an increase in our regional allocation or different grants, discretionary grants that could be awarded. So the GBNRTC is proposing to amend the TIP and the long range plan by adding this project. GBNRTC is not required to fund or select any illustrative projects, and federal action is not required until the project is officially added to the TIP as a constrained project. This project will be added to the TIP and long-range plan illustrative list at a total estimated cost of $162 million in 2029 dollars. This work will include replacing the existing post-tension concrete girder superstructure that serves as the roof over the dam at the Power Authority's Robert Moses Niagara Power Project hydroelectric plant. Public comments were received as required for 30 days until April 20th. No comments were received. Therefore, today's policy action would be to add this project as an illustrative project to both the TIP and the Long Range Transportation Plan as Resolution 2026-.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Thanks. Any discussion needed? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissenting or opposed or abstaining? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, our next item is our annual recertification of your responsibilities and duties as member agencies to the MPO. This is our memorandum of understanding. This MOU formalizes the responsibilities of member agencies and MPO staff. Make sure that projects are developed based on 3 C's. That's continuing, cooperative, and air quality conformity addressed by the MPO, and open planning and programming processes. This is subject to amendment, affirmation annually. Most recently, this agreement was signed on February 28, 2025. The proposed amendment this time around is going to be adding a reference to the approved governance and operations plan that was approved back in October. This also went through a 30-day public review, which completed on April 20th. No comments were received. This one's a little different, and not only does the chairman need to sign, the person need to sign, but each member agency also, there's a section where each agency needs to sign as the designated policy representative. So we're going to put this up for a vote. Once approved, if approved, we will send it around to get everyone's signature now so that we don't do this.
A motion to approve the MOU. Do I have a second? That's for the Buffalo second. Any discussion needed? All in favor? Any opposed or abstaining? Motion passes.
Okay, now we move into some tip projects. The first one is PIN 576325, the Buffalo 1R paving program. This is a existing tip project. However, the locations have significantly changed, so we're going to classify this as a significant scope change, and it requires a amendment and a resolution as such. This work includes pavement rehab, cold mix milling, and hot mix asphalt resurfacing to extend the life of the surface for 15 years. Additional project objectives include new updated curb ramps, wider sidewalk repair, striping, marking of the new pavement to improve access and safety for all users. As I mentioned, the original project had several locations listed. Those are significantly changing. On your screen now and in your packet is the listing of the updated locations for this project. There are 11 in total. The total cost of the project remains the same at $7 million. The air quality exemption code is also unchanged as A10, pavement surfacing. The actions considered significant scope change, once again, because it's a significant alteration. The project termini, type of project intent, and public comments were once again received for 30 days. And then on April 20th, no comments were received. Does Buffalo have anything to add to this?
This is based largely on, I think, council feedback from the original proposed streets. That's an important factor for our consideration. So,
therefore, today's policy action would be to approve the significant scope change via resolution 2026.
DOT will make a motion. Do I have a second? What? You need any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Motion passes.
Okay, the next item up are transit safety performance measure targets, updates for 2026. We're going to have Catherine go through this one as she manages our performance measure targets.
On July 19th, 2018, the FTA published the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan Final Rule, which requires certain operators of public transportation systems that receive federal funds under FTA's urbanized area formula grants develop safety plans that include the processes and procedures to implement safety management systems. Safety performance measure is a quantifiable indicator of performance or condition that is used to establish targets related to safety management activities and to assess progress towards meeting the established targets. So there are 14 safety performance measure targets that must be established by transit agencies. First one is major events, includes all safety and security events as defined by the NTD. Then you have major event rate, collision rate, pedestrian collision rate, vehicular collision rate, fatalities, fatality rate, transit worker fatality, injuries, injury rate, transit worker injury rate, assaults on transit workers, and rate of assaults on transit workers, and system reliability. So the GBNRTC may establish some safety targets by agreeing to plan and program projects that contribute towards the accomplishment of the aforementioned state's targets, or establish its own target with 180 days of state establishing, reporting, and safety targets. And targets must be established and affirmed annually. The Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority Executive Safety Committee has officially adopted the safety targets in the NFTA Metro Agency Safety Plan dated February 22nd, 2026. Next page is the actual target numbers for this year and the previous years. Go through all of those. So final. All right, so the GVNRTC will adopt and support the MPA's 2026 targets for 14 safety performance targets. Public comments will receive for 30 days until April 20th, 2026, and we received no comments. Today's policy action would be to approve this via resolution 2026-12.
Okay, I have a motion to accept NFTA's transit safety performance measures.
Kelly, the motion.
Do I have a second?
Firebolt, second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstaining or defining?
The next project is pin 503319, New York 25, Twin City Highway, I-290 to the Niagara County line. This is a new project that's being requested by DOT to add to the tip. This project will restore pavement to good condition with a pavement score of at least 8, using cost-effective treatments to provide an additional service life of 8 years. It will also look to improve the mobility and safety between I-290 and Young Street, and improve the drainage at Young Street intersection and sidewalk at Niagara Street. Important distinction is this is not the Twin Cities Highway health study that is also going on at the same time. This is mostly a project on the Erie County side. Total project cost is $6.773 million. Constraint is maintained as the same amount will be transferred from an existing pavement maintenance block fund. The anticipated let will be on April 28th. ICG concurred with the proposed transportation conformity exemption of pavement resurfacing and rehab. Public comments were received for 30 days until April 20th. No comments were received. Therefore, today's policy action would be to approve this new project as resolution 2026-13.
DOT makes a motion to approve. Like have a second.
Second.
Any discussion needed? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Motion passes.
Okay, continuing on to a safety project, pin 576607 Rapids Road shoulder widening, roadway departure, safety action plan project. Erie County has requested to add a new project to the tip based on an award they received at the roadway departure safety action plan solicitation, grant solicitation through the state. Rapids Road has non-standard shoulder widths. This project will reduce the roadway departure crashes by providing standard width paved shoulders. Total project cost is $7.84 million. Constraint will be maintained as $7.45 million. A federal HSIP will come through the NISDOT award from the roadway departure safety action plan solicitation. And Erie County will provide a 5% required local match of roughly $400,000. Safety data for this application was obtained through our race dashboard, which is a product of our Safe Streets for All planning grant. So if you have not had the opportunity to view any of this data, it is on our website. There's the link there, gnrtc.org/safety. So these will identify the locations of serious accidents and fatalities. The anticipated let of the project will be November 11th of 2027. ICG has concurred with the transportation conformity exemption recommendation of A6 HSIP project. Public comments were received for 30 days until April 20th. No comments were received. Does Erie County have anything to add to this? Good. Okay, therefore, today's policy action would be to approve the project and add it to the tip via resolution 2026-4.
Go to you, make a motion. Project, second. Yes, second. Julie, when you need any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstaining? Motion passes.
The next one is going to be the new round of MTA section 5310 projects, and Kelly Dix will present this.
Ms. Rich, good morning, everyone. So resolution 2026-15, it's the most recent round for the Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities Grant Program. This is FTA funding that comes through New York State Department of Transportation main office. They coordinate with MPOs around the state who develop the local coordinated human services transportation plan, which is designed to improve transportation options and mobility for older adults, individuals with disabilities, and low-income individuals in our two-county region. So we bring together a local review team to review the applications that are deemed eligible by New York State DOT. And the projects I want to speak with you today about are the ones that the team has recommended for funding and shared with DOT. The project itself requires that 55% of the total regional allocation has to go to traditional capital projects, and that constitutes the purchase of vehicles, the vans that these agencies utilize to transport the clients they serve to day programs, group homes, and the like. The enhanced application categories could be enhanced capital, which could be fleet management software. It could be lifts to install on particular vehicles to make them more accessible. And then the last two categories are operating assistance. Some of these agencies prefer to contract out transportation services. The operating assistance allows that to do for them to hire on a private transportation provider, for example, to do that. And then the mobility management category is offers them the option if they are administering or coordinating transportation services to pay for those types of expenses if they are coordinating programs. So in total, 6 agencies have been recommended for funding to purchase a total of 24 new vehicles that would be added into the regional fleet. 1 agency has been recommended for an enhanced capital assistant project. 2 agencies have been recommended for operating assistance, and 1 agency has been recommended for mobility management assistance. So we hit all categories, and I'll go through in detail so you know the agencies and what they've applied for. So this is the traditional capital category for the vehicles themselves: Aspire, Catholic Health, Community Services for Everyone, Erie County Department of Aging. New York State ARC is New York State ARC of Erie County, one of the large agencies that serves individuals with developmental disabilities in our region, and then Niagara County Office of Aging. So 24 vehicles to replenish some replacement vehicles and some new vehicles to add into the fleets of these agencies. The capital assistance projects that's been recommended for funding is also comes from New York State ARC of Erie County. They maintain their own fleet of vehicles and they've applied to update their current fleet tracking software system. So that's been recommended for funding to enhance monitoring and reporting for their transportation activities and safety improvements. Next slide. For operating assistance, Hearts and Hands has a long-established volunteer driver program where folks volunteer and transport individuals to medical appointments, other quality of life appointments. They are based in more suburban and rural communities in our two-county area and areas that really don't have any public transportation options. So that really does fill a gap identified in our coordinated human services transportation plan. Erie County Department for the Aging has an exciting transportation pilot project that they've applied for to kind of expand the umbrella of services under their Going Places program, coordinating with the City of Buffalo to do this 2-year pilot to expand options in the evening and on weekends. Their Going Places program operates Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. This really is a longstanding gap. It will allow for recreation trips, and just given for the variety of programs that do exist currently, medical really eats up a lot of the availability of transportation options because it's given priority for obvious reasons. But this is really exciting for those important quality of life recreation trips. And the last category under mobility management is also for Erie County Department for the Aging to award funds to maintain their transportation supervisor position that oversees Going Places in terms of the coordination of their existing fleet, but also to administer this new pilot program and collaborate with other providers around the county. So in terms of the matching, the traditional capital for vehicles, the enhanced capital category for the fleet software for New York State, Park of Erie County, and then that mobility management category are 80-20 split. So the federal government covers 80%, the local agencies required for that 20% match. Operating assistance, those two projects, it's a 50-50 split. So the local agencies will come up with that 50% match. Fiscal constraint is maintained. This is new funding that comes in from FTA through New York State DOT. In terms of the TIP, our public comment period of 30 days, which is required, concluded on April 20th. We had one comment that was received, acknowledged, and responded to, and all the projects went through the interagency consultation group and have been deemed exempt for air quality purposes. So I'm happy to answer any questions on the projects or the program, but the action before the committee today is to approve the 10 projects to add them to the current TIP.
Can you talk to me a little bit, or us, regarding the engagement with the particular agencies? And I was wondering if there were agencies beyond those that were listed here, especially pertains to Niagara County that may have been engaged, but perhaps didn't have the match available. Can you just walk me through that a little bit?
Sure. So our engagement largely comes through the development of the Coordinated Human Services Transportation Plan for Erie and Niagara counties. The last plan was approved in 2023. Our update will be in 2028. So that's going to be coming on. The grant itself is put up by New York State DOT Albany. So they will release the application. They have a pretty extensive list of agencies that they do push out the application to. We receive that too, but then push it out to our network as well. Then sometimes there's some duplication and overlap, but just trying to get it out far and wide in terms of reaching folks that may be eligible for this particular grant program. There is reporting that's required as part of the process. I will say in the fiscal environment that we are matching is always a concern. And particularly for those operating assistance type categories, we have to come up with the 50%. So the application was released in November. They extended the initial deadline a little bit to try to get as many applicants as possible. So there is some engagement, but I think we can always improve going forward. But if there are particular agencies in Niagara County, we have a list, but it would be good to sit down when we particularly get into the next round for the coordinated plan to make sure we're not missing anybody.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else?
Motion to approve. I have a second.
Second.
Okay, start Erie County, NFPA. Do you need any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstaining? Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next two projects we're going to discuss are also new projects, but they haven't begun the process to add them to the TIP. We were brought to TPS last month. There was a little bit of extra work that needed to go into these. So rather than waiting 2 weeks for TPS, we're going to get these started today. So the first one is 513455 Big Sister Creek remediation, Bennett Beach to New York 5. The DOT has proposed the addition of this project to the tip to investigate options modifying Big Sister Creek channel downstream of New York Route 5 Bridge over Big Sister Creek. This will be to provide relief of floodwater due to ice jams. Work will also include construction of an access road for construction and future maintenance. Total project cost is $2.716 million. The anticipated let is April of 2029. Constraint is maintained as $150,000 in federal funding will be transferred from a pavement maintenance block. $550,000 will come from state dedicated funding, and the remainder $2.016 million will be local funding. Proposed transportation conformity exemption has been submitted to ICG as K1 exempt not regionally significant through interagency consultation. Public comments would be received for 30 days. Starting tomorrow until close of business on 6/8/26. 6/7 is on the weekend, so we always make sure that and end on a weekday. Anything to add to this one? Therefore, today's policy action to get this project started would be to initiate a 30-day public hearing.
I have a motion. Initiate the public hearing. You provide a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
You want a second. All in favor?
Aye.
You opposed or abstaining?
Thank you. The next one is 530847 US 62 resurfacing project in the village of Hamburg. DOT has proposed the addition of this project to the tip. Pavement work from an existing project 530840, which is the US 62 New York 75 resurfacing, including intersection improvements at US 62 and 75, is being accelerated due to the poor conditions being exhibited. The new project will resurface US Route 62 in the village and town of Hamburg in Erie County. This project will have a total cost of $1.856 million. Fiscal constraint will be maintained as the same amount of funding will be transferred from an existing project 512633 I-990 at Millersport Highway intersection reconfiguration. The anticipated let will be February of 2027. The proposed transportation conformity exemption will be A10, pavement resurfacing and or rehab. Public comments will once again be received for 30 days, starting tomorrow and ending at close of business on 6/8/26. Steve, if you have anything to add to this?
Unless there's questions.
Okay. Therefore, today's policy action would be to initiate a 30-day public.
DOT will make a motion to initiate the 30-day public review. Do I have a second? Do we have a second? Do we have a second? I think it's not needed. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain or opposed? Motion pass.
Okay, last action item is a project modification. This is 576418 bridge painting and vertical down and Lydecker substructure 5 bridges. And also 576419 bridge painting and vertical down 27 7 bridges. This is a request from Erie County to modify an existing TIP project. This project was presented at TPS at last month's meeting. This action would transfer $1.36 million of matched federal funding from 576419 to 576418 due to construction cost increase. 576419 will remain on the tip, but will be delayed as replacement funds are being sought to restore the project whole. fiscal constraint will be maintained as all $1.36 million of additional needed funding will be transferred from 576419. As this is a funding change over 500,000, TPS recommended and PCC needs to approve. However, as we are having no PCC this month, it is before you today. Erie County, have anything to add to this one? All right. Today's action would be to approve this modification as ed mod number 10.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Brilliant. Like I said, the Buffalo and that. B2 DOT will make a second. Do we need any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Foster. Yes. With that, it's for action items. Open it up. Action items. And first up is the NFTA sustainability.
Wherever you're comfortable.
I'm never comfortable.
More comfortable.
I'm Emma Hoffritz, if you guys don't know me. Thanks for inviting me to come talk about NFTA sustainability plan today. This is a little later than I would have preferred to talk about it since it is from 2025, but everything's still relevant. We're still moving along. It's 2026 now. We have new programs and projects in place. Thank you. So some of these items are directly in the plan, and I have a couple copies if anybody's interested in taking one home. This is our first version. So you guys had said discussion items. I would love if anybody has any things to talk about or questions, because I'm interested in making next report even better, even more detailed. This first version was focused mainly on the emissions baseline. We had never conducted one of those before. We had rough estimates, but never in full detail authority-wide. Future reports, I'm really interested in diving deeper into a little bit more about scope 3 emissions, especially our life cycle and waste and water analyses, because we use more than people may think, even though we're just transportation. So this report looks like this. It's really, really nice and pretty. We have an introduction. We have our emissions inventory. We have a list of our accomplishments and ongoing projects, because a lot of our sustainability initiatives started in about 2005, 2006. And then the most important part, our action plan, which a lot of those programs and initiatives, you guys have a hand in as well. So when we determined our baseline, we considered a lot of high quality data, which was non-existent. So thinking about going forward, scope 3 emissions is really our focus on how can we actually gather a lot of our consumption data across airports and our metro. The metro tends to be a lot more reportable since a lot of it's mandated. As you guys have seen, a lot of it's already being reported to the NTD, but our airport transportation data is not so much. So we plan to continue our decarbonization initiative. We want to reduce our footprint, but we also want to just make things a lot more efficient. We also want to estimate our net GHG impact based on avoided personal miles, which I think are run in some other reports. You can go to the next slide. This number here, about 35,000 metric tons of CO2e, is in line with a lot of our partner organizations or similarly sized transit organizations, such as Pittsburgh, such as Charlotte. That's about in line. We're about the same in terms of total emissions, but in terms of per passenger mile traveled, not so much. We have a lot of lines that go far that not a lot of travelers are taking. So when you look at it per passenger mile for bus, it's not as efficient as we would like to be. So trying to work on initiatives to show that taking the bus or rail is a lot more efficient than taking the car. Our estimated mobile emissions, this is just mobile, not stationary. The bus, as many of you may expect, is going to be the highest one. It's about evenly distributed between all of our fuel types, between compressed natural gas, diesel, and hybrid. The light rail lowest because a lot of it is strictly electric. Well, all of it is strict electricity except for the stations. The paratransit vans, I'd like to be a little bit more efficient as well, but those vehicles are not monitored the same way as our buses. And then our non-revenue fleet, I'm not disappointed in the numbers there. I'm not looking to really decrease them in a crazy way, because a lot of those are what keep a lot of our system running, especially airport. So historically, this line here is our diesel emissions being severely decreased since 2005. So historically, we've done a lot of just naturally have decreased our emissions. Now, that's just diesel. The other fuel types are still going to be high emitters. Compressed natural gas right now, we'd like to consider a low emitter, but the state does not see that as a under low emissions. So thinking going forward, how can our buses still be efficient while still running is the big question. Our greenhouse gas emissions by fleet composition, also I'm pleased with. You can see a breakdown in 2025, really diversified our fleet here. You can always be better, I suppose, but the green is our CNG and it makes up the majority of our fleet right now. So like I said earlier about passenger miles traveled, the more people that actually ride our vehicles in our rail, the more our regional emissions would actually decrease. That's been talked a lot about in the One Region Forward plan, the PCAP and the CCAP, which Kelly knows a lot more about than I do. I'm really interested in talking too about like minimum density as we plan further along the rail, as we expand any bus lines, like where is that TOD being put? Because right now our total emissions divided by total passenger miles is just a little bit higher than I would prefer to see. I think it's about 0.55 and similar agencies are about 0.4. So it just, now granted those areas may be denser or they just might simply have higher populations, which is outside of my pay grade. But that's where we'll get there is with trans-oriented development. We keep going. The next two graphs are in our plan, but I don't anticipate you guys being too interested in seeing stuff like this. It's really just our base facilities and where our natural gas consumption is living. Same with the next slide, which is electricity consumption. OCC, our Operations Control Center, is fully electric, so that's going to show a much higher electricity consumption, but it means lower emissions. Here's our decades of accomplishments. I want to always acknowledge how much work has been done prior to me coming on 2 years ago. This has not been new initiatives, especially with our airports. That's where our leadership likes to really highlight the recognition there with the treatment of our environmental systems. And again, I don't want to, this is really, really small text, so I'd imagine you guys would just be able to read it directly in the document. And our goals here, we have about 7 main highlighted goals for the 2025 plan. I feel that you guys would be most interested in talking and seeing the fleet, the leadership and programming, and the development. And on the next few slides, there are some examples of our action plan and how we lay out the strategies. So some of them are marked as completed, for example, because publishing our first sustainability plan. But something I really want to highlight is conducting that climate change vulnerability assessment. I think it's being done regionally as well with the Protect grant. We want to see it, especially for our rail lines that's built on an aquifer, and we have constant flooding in some of the stations. So that's going forward to put that out there as my main interest in really seeing where some of our infrastructure can be improved, especially since a vulnerability assessment tends to look a lot at flood areas, more so than, none of our operating systems are on the shoreline, for example. So it's more so looking at how can we really retrofit our infrastructure to prevent these flood. I take the rail every day. I get wet. It's not fun. So that's what I want to highlight for the most part, especially educating the public on benefits of transit too. Oh, you're good. You're going. It's all right. And then our next goal, decarbonizing our revenue and non-revenue fleet. We prefer to use the word decarbonize more than strictly electrify, right? I don't know what other types of fuel are coming, but if we're transitioning our rolling stock to low or no emission alternatives, that also makes our riders happier. They're not breathing in heavy diesel fuels. I want to transition some of our vehicles and specialized equipment too. Those are kind of the more low-hanging fruit than bigger buses. And then what I kind of anticipate from this group as well, being able to assist with and help with, is developing those standard life cycle analyses and return on investment research tools. I'd imagine that a lot of you guys also have fleets that are being mandated to be transitioned, and I, as well as a lot of our leadership, are really interested in seeing holistically, not just tailpipe emissions, but holistically, how are these vehicles looking at from a life cycle angle. And then reducing our facility and total energy consumption. Again, that's just by standard. We're trying to reduce it to save money, but also to meet the energy efficiency goals laid out in New York State CO 22. And I want to say the next one might be the last slide. Yeah, perfect. So our total waste produced and water consumed are also what comes up a lot when we talk with leadership is how can we reduce total scope 3 emissions, not just related to our specific transportation initiatives and our vehicles, but we use a lot of water in a bus wash, for example. So even though it's not active transportation, we're washing the buses every single day, every time they go through the fuel station. And that's a lot of water that could potentially be saved or recycled. Big highlight, big focus, as well as optimizing our disposal of anything related to a vehicle, especially the batteries, especially engines, anything that can be recycled. Where can we not only look to properly recycle it and be really good stewards of the environment, but potentially any sort of revenue source as well. Optimizing with our waste hauler in our water. I think that might be it. This is just a partnership with Clean Mobility Buffalo. I'd really like to hear questions because internally, when we've talked about this a lot, I hear the same questions. So if you guys have any or points that we can do to make our 2026 planning better going forward, that'd be fantastic.
On your electric side, how are you guys supplying that? Are you limited in expansion based on availability from the grid?
That's a good question. The bigger concern tends to be airport electrical planning. Our metro planning, we have extra substations for the Cold Spring electrification planning, for example. So NYPA helped with that. That is not as much of a concern as the airport electrification. As of right now, we have maybe at least 46 electric buses. The Cold Spring garage and station can supply up to 100 electric buses. So I'm not too concerned about being able to fuel the electric buses. I hope that's the question you were going towards. And Brennan definitely knows the concerns of the electrification of the airport is more of the capacity concern. In a perfect world, we'd be producing our own energy on site at NFCA. I don't know how to get that going.
That's a concern with all electrification because I think there's a mandate now, even car dealers have to have a certain number of chargers.
Mhm.
And a lot of times they're constrained by the grid on getting that power.
Yeah.
And if they're mandated, if they don't have so many chargers by a certain date, they can lose their franchise license.
Yeah. I'm thinking that a lot more places will have substations or I don't like the term microgrid. I was just talking to Brendan. I don't even know what that means, to be honest, because it's just a mini grid. It's not like you still need the source. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're not relying on the grid, but I'd like to look into NFTA being a little bit less reliant on the formal local grid and having maybe potential backup power that's not just batteries, but also low emitters. And that's sometimes those are completely mutually exclusive and you don't have a combination of both. So.
Well, Grid tries to upgrade. PFC is saying it's affordability time, so their major projects are going to cancel.
Right.
So take a pick, right?
Yeah.
And the technology for hydrogen keeps improving. However, that requires pumps to get the hydrogen in too. So that also requires electricity.
We have alternative fuel studies going on for multiple garages, but then it doesn't address the problem of fuel loss between hydrogen. So actually fueling a hydrogen bus, you're losing 30% of the fuel. And then it's well, now we're just wasting money. So
Rochester just received a grant for 2 hydrogen buses. So it'll be interesting how that works out.
Yeah. Really useful. I like talking about Rochester.
They're always innovative.
Yeah. They're smaller. They can do it.
Oh, they got 9 counties.
Yeah.
Really interesting. You did a great job with that.
Thanks.
We are all invested. We all have fleets and diesel.
Mhm.
We need to transition as well.
Mhm. And at the end of the day, to address the elephant in the room, right now, our diesel buses are the most reliable. They're the ones that are still going to get people to where they need to go. So until we can get all the other fuel types up to that reliability, I don't know, numbers wise, how we're going to get there. But I'm optimistic, but I'm also pragmatic, I suppose. So
We're excited to see where you think.
awesome.
Yeah.
You guys have any other
Find the answer
questions?
for all of us.
I'll be the guinea pig.
Pressure.
That's all the discussion items. Go to either agency reports or official business. So the agencies have a report out or new business.
I would take the opportunity to introduce John Donnelly here. He is my new deputy commissioner for engineering. Division of Engineering. Just started about a week ago, so I got him in here and trying to overwhelm him as much as I can. You'll be seeing him at a lot of the meetings tonight when I'm not able to make it. Welcome him to the group.
It's good to meet you all. Thank you for letting me join you. It's a pleasure.
Any other agencies have a report?
Ben, did you, I don't know, Deputy Mayor Ben Farnacamp, if everybody knows who Ben is. We're sure going over from the county, so.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Glad to team up with Bill on some hot patching last week. We're all about any collaborations or shared services we got cranking. If you saw our budget, we increased DPW spending overall by like 86%. So we're trying to get things up to shape, hoping to get everybody out of the Broadway barns pretty soon. So our crews are living in abysmal conditions. So yeah, Mayor's making major commitments on infrastructure, top priority for us. So looking forward to working with you guys on really trying to get things going again in the city.
I know we've met, but you can help. It's super critical.
Yep, absolutely. And Richard's been great on an array of things. So yeah, it's been good work with you guys.
The other agency report us. Brings us to director's report.
Okay, thank you. First, I'd like to thank the board for giving me another opportunity to act as interim director. For those of you who know me, this is my 32nd year at GBNRTC, believe it or not. Just a little bit of history. I started out my first 2 summers at graduate school counting cars as temporary survey technician, which I think a lot of us started out as here. I then managed IT, and then Hal Morse realized I got an AICP and I'm a planner. Why am I managing computers? So got into project management as a senior planner, principal planner, transportation program manager, and this is my second stint now as interim director. So I've been through 3 permanent directors, 2 temporary directors, and twice as so been through a lot. I've probably fulfilled every single position here at Highbury. So it's been an experience, and welcome this opportunity again to continue the great work that Mike did and Hal did, and lead us to a new permanent director, and make sure that all the efforts of the staff are appreciated and continue. I would also like to welcome Deputy Mayor Swanekamp and Mr. Mahaffey, also their first time at policy, I believe. Ian, is this your first time? Or? Okay, so the 2 of them, you're an old hat. So welcome you to the policy committee. So this is our highest level of our governance structure. So these meetings are held a little less frequently. However, there are, based on our governance document, there are several items that need policy approval to go forward. So we do need to schedule these meetings at a regular interval, and sometimes if something needs to be approved in a hurry, we'll also call the meeting to order then. So I just wanted to give a couple of updates on some things that are going on. Our permanent executive director, that is now being, it's published on both the GBNRTC and NFTA websites, as well as some national sites, the American Planning Association and the American MPO Association. So that goes on until May 15th. And then the board will take any applications and review those and take the process from there. Our grants and administrative manager, so Terry Call, who was with us for many years, retired. We did have the process. We hired a new grants and administrative manager. It's been a challenge. You know, the role, I've done this role before, but that time we had a grants and administrative manager. So this time there was a lot more accounting and procurement that I had to do. So I'll be happy when the new grants and administrative manager starts. but the lights are still on, all the bills are paid, everyone's paycheck is coming, so I guess we're making it. But happy to have our new, we call it GAM, Grants Administrative Manager start on Monday. Office space RFP, so those of you familiar, we're looking to locate to a new facility somewhere downtown. We are looking to cohabitate a space with NITEC. An RFP was issued, given the requirements of both agencies. That requirement, the scope of that document has been slightly modified, so it was reissued, and that is due on May 8th at 3 p.m. As far as GBNRCC upcoming meetings, as mentioned, there will be no PCC this month. This is taking its place. Our next meeting will be TPS on the 20th, the usual time, 9 a.m. at GBNRTC. And for PCC next month, we're up in Niagara Falls at the DeVoe Park. Is there a specific room or easy to find, or
Yeah, they just have to move conference room.
just walk in? Just walk in, you'll find it. Hopefully there'll be signs this time.
That was pretty good.
We did try to do signs today, it didn't work out too well. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you. He is chained to the desk, so we won't let us go. And we ramped it up for this plan was interim because he did such a big time there. Which thanks for you and everything that all the staff that should be on RTC. With that brings us to the end of today's meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second, to you guys.
Discussion on adjournment needed. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? And we are adjourned.
Did the MOU make it around?